Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Honest Providers Podcast. My name is Dalton Young with Honest Care Systems, and today I'm with my friend Maria Pagan with Somatic and Wellness Co. Maria, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi. So I am an LCSW. I've always been somebody who has sought ways to support others. When I was younger, I always worked as a cheer coach, a dance instructor. I found my way to college. I was a student aide at a preschool at FAU, actually, where I did both of my degrees. And after graduation, which was the year of COVID, like we were like 6 weeks before graduation,
Right.
and everything kind of went virtually. Unfortunately, preschool doesn't go virtually. So I found myself in the field of applied behavioral analysis, and I worked as a registered behavioral technician, which is where I found my love for learning about people and connection. And this is one way to help people. It just wasn't my desired way of wanting to help people. And those individuals will forever live in my heart. I think that it was a very unique opportunity for me to learn something about individuals who are diagnosed on the spectrum, what it means to work with the family alongside as they learn interventions to help their child be functioning members of society. And I feel like even saying functioning member of society is a label in itself, because we're all unique, we're all different, we all function differently. And I think after 6 months, I go close, but not there yet.
Right.
So I applied to grad school, and I was very fortunate enough to have a wonderful mentor and a very honest friend who was like, you didn't even try, just apply. Luckily, I got in, and I was kind of took the opportunity and ran with it. The experience itself was extremely eye-opening. It was the mirror I think I needed to grow as a young adult and as a young professional. It brought a lot of personal things to the surface, and it was extremely eye-opening to also be working alongside my peers, who even today we still connect, we FaceTime, we Zoom. I'm in the process right now of trying to get us to get together as often as we can, like on a monthly basis, for whoever can come together. Because even we as providers need support too. We're human, we're not robots.
In the people business, I say it every day.
Yeah. People would like to think that we're perfect sitting on the other side of the chair or even on the other side of the mat. But the truth is that we're human. And as one human who had many experiences that led up to acknowledging, I want to help people. And I don't know what that way is yet, but this is one way. And I think each job opportunity led me up to grad school and to where I am now, and my connection to mind, body, all the things I've learned in the process of being in therapy myself, because therapists need therapy too, every once in a while.
It helps both sides, right?
Absolutely. One thing I try my best not to be is a hypocrite. What I teach, I practice. I do my very best to. And I found how important it is to not only be connected to self, but also the systems that we exist in. And the world that we live in is very consumerism, and that means that it kind of takes attention away from my thoughts, my feelings, my sensations. What is my body telling me? And it can get pretty confusing if we don't know. So I think that knowledge is power, and this is one opportunity and way that people can add as a tool to therapy as well.
Absolutely. You kind of hit a few different key points there, but I love that therapists need therapy too, and we connect with others and help. Again, I heard it put the other day was keeping your cup full, right? And basically by helping others, you're essentially able to fulfill your own fulfillment, right? So it's a two-way street. And I don't think a lot of people see therapy as that, and I think they need to, because it's a connection thing, right? And you've seen things, and you've things that not only got you into this journey, but helped you progress into this journey. Based on that, what do you feel like your approach and philosophy is doing things differently than maybe what other people are doing around you? What makes what you're doing unique?
The core of it is safety. And like you had just said, the second thing is connection, and the third is collaboration. I'm working with another person. They are the expert in their lives. And that was something that was instilled in school that I carry through to this day. You're the expert of your life. You've experienced your life. You're sitting in front of me. How can we explore this together to get you to a place where you want to go or where you want to be? It was about, I think I led a group session, I think 2 weeks ago. And I seem to attract very individuals who work in high intense and very demanding jobs. I grew up as an elite athlete, so that's another population too that I find myself working with and respond well to the type of practitioner I am. Like I said, I'm not everybody's cup of tea, and that's totally okay. I'm okay with that.
That's good though, because you don't want to be good for everybody, right? You need to be you are you, and you're able to help specific people. So I love that.
Yeah. And this individual asked a wonderful question. They said, why this? Why now? And my answer was integration. There's no one way to do this.
Right.
You can be in therapy and you can still learn tools from a somatic practitioner, and integrating somatic practices, somatic breath work, and the other tools that we learn about mental health in school is so important, especially as a social worker. You want to be able to give them the tools and then offer them a space where they feel empowered to take action. Unfortunately, I can't go home with you and help you out all the time.
Yeah.
But to be able to have that connection and that alliance with the individuals that do find themselves sitting in front of me on a mat talking about, what is it? Where do we want to get to? How do we want to feel? Some people come with intention, and I say, this is a wonderful thing that you have in mind. Now let's be aware of expectation, leave those things at the door, because your body was made with its own intelligence, and what you might be seeking, your body might not be ready for. So while we are building you up to that point, it is still a process.
Absolutely. A lot of people come in, like you said, into it and have a kind of a preset, this is where I'm going, this is what I'm doing, and being open to getting there is, it's baby steps, right? It's step by step, and building that foundation so that you can, it's not usually just that you show up once and everything's fixed. It's about being consistent and having, the right tools in your tool belt or toolbox, or however you want to put it, to be able to take what they experience with you and go practice that themselves, so that they're one step closer the next time they see you. But you've worked with a lot of different people who have experienced a lot of different things, as you mentioned. What do you think truly needs to change in your side of the industry? What do you see specifically that you would think could, I guess the word would be, need to be different? What could change?
I think a genuine acceptance of people, that they're not broken, they don't need fixing. New information, like knowledge is truly power. And when we look at it on a systems level, the more that people know, the more that there's an opportunity for change. And not everybody is ready for change.
Right.
But when that person, whoever it is that is sitting in front of me, is ready for change, and they start to learn things about themselves, about practices, about what has been the thing holding them back. The next step after feeling is kind of accepting that it's okay to feel, it's okay to have your own thoughts, opinions. We can't change the past, unfortunately, and to move forward, it's okay that you might want something, but what is actually necessary to get there. So I think safety and acceptance, safety being a huge thing too, because think about it. Would you share anything on an emotional, intellectual, interpersonal, professional level with someone who you didn't feel safe with all the time?
Well, absolutely not. That trust is it's a big piece of it, and not just trusting someone, but knowing that because I see a lot of people, they trust their family, but they may not feel like they can share these things with their family, right? So
Mm.
they bottle up emotions, and it's not just about trust, but it's about that connection.
Yeah, absolutely.
Know they're being heard.
Spaces, that's my thing. Create a safe space. Your body's going to have a response to it, and from there we do work.
Absolutely. I love that. There's a lot of people who are watching, this video or other videos like it. And what would be one piece of advice if it was another provider or maybe a family member that was looking for services like yours? What advice would you give them to show them that, this is what honest, ethical care actually looks like?
Try it.
Yeah.
Give it one shot. Like I said, I am me. And that is because of the acceptance and because of the safety that I feel being me. And don't get me wrong, I'm human. I have my human experiences as well.
Yeah, if anybody tells you otherwise, they're lying, right?
Absolutely. But trying something, and what did you get from that connection with that person? If you don't try, you'll never know. And if you don't know, then you're left wondering. And the more honest you are in that interaction, the more that you learn about yourself, the other person, or the practice itself.
It's trying to find someone who understands that you have to take that step. You have to step out of your shell, and because usually once you make the first step, then that's really all it takes. But that first step's usually the biggest leap of faith, right? It's the biggest leap of trying, that's where most people get hung up. And that's not just even in therapy, that's really in life, whether it's, doing the road trip, starting the business, getting help, and I think a lot of people can relate to that. Once you've tried something once, usually the second step isn't as hard. The third step's even easier. And then you get into this pattern of, again, building that foundation and then building on top of that momentum. And then it's like a snowball effect, right? Mm-hmm. A snowball effect into the right direction. So that's great. You've been through a lot over the years, right? Going through everything. I know we spoke briefly beforehand. Yeah. But looking back at your journey so far, what would you say that you're most proud of for yourself?
I think so. As a Hispanic young adult, what is typically practiced in our culture is that we stay home. We stay close to home. And for a very long time, I held the belief that it was selfish that I went away to school, that I wasn't in arm's reach of my family. Mind you, I can get in the car and drive 3 hours. Right. And there were moments where I probably spent more weekends over there than I did here throughout college and my master's program. All lessons that taught me it's okay that I value my family. It's okay that my family is a part of my values, and I am the one that's living my life. And in return, breaking that cycle, being one of the individuals to break that cycle, as difficult as it was, and I look back, it allowed my brother and my sister to run. And I'm totally okay with that. Being the oldest child comes with its challenges. Being a Latina woman in 2026 comes with its own challenges. Having conversations with your parents where they're like, we're still going to parent you no matter how old you are. And I'm like, I accept that. I accept that. And I still have to make a choice at the end of the day. But something I'll never forget is my dad being as honest as he could possibly be with the 18-year-old version of me. And he said, all of your actions have consequences. And some people receive that as like a slap on the wrist. But I said, okay, I'm catching your drift. And I was still 18 years old and I wasn't perfect, but it led me to today. It allows me to be real with the people I work with. And real's the only way to be that, we talk a lot, we use the word honest a lot, but being honest with your clients, being honest with yourself, within the constraints of, life, but, giving the best, most transparent version of yourself that you can in a field like this, when it revolves therapy, is critical to truly helping others and helping yourself. And you're a living example of what you talked about, taking that first step. You took the first step, or you're breaking the mold, so to speak, and trying something different. Even though it goes maybe against the grain, you created an opportunity for yourself and you set an example and a tone for your family. And I'm sure they may not realize it yet, but if they don't, they will realize it soon, and they're going to be appreciative of that, because sometimes we have to step out of that bubble that we're born into to
find ourselves. And that may mean leaving and coming back, but I think I honestly, I come from a small town and it had a very similar nature to it. You don't leave, and if you leave, you come back. And we kind of left and kind of didn't come back, right? But it's been the best eye-opening thing because it allowed me, it allows others to see the world from a different perspective. First of all, develop our own perspective, see the world from a different perspective than the culture or the environment which we were born into, which was out of our control. I heard a quote the other day. It was, when we're born, we're a product of our environment. When we die, we're a product of our decisions. Or it was something along those lines. And I really aligned with that really well because it's true. We can't help where we start, but we can definitely impact where we finish.
Absolutely. And I'm lucky and I'm very blessed that I have parents who were willing to also be open to the knowledge I acquired. And then I implemented in my own life because it was kind of you're in or you're out. And I think sometimes we forget as adult children to adult parents that we have that autonomy too. And culturally speaking, it doesn't leave room necessarily sometimes, but I'm very fortunate to have parents that were extremely supportive of this whole entire process. It's all on my dime, that they were very happy about. And I think it's, had extremely supportive parents. And while they, in the moment, when I was 18, were probably panicking, right now they're probably looking back. And actually, this is a conversation we had not too long ago. Because of the holidays, everybody lives in different places, different cities and relationships, and you bring people in and, you got to go away for a different holiday because your partner is how it's also allowed my parents to be open to taking new opportunities where they may have watched the generation before them think that they had to stay there once they got there. And being able to see my dad be proud of me and then I'm proud of him for the step that he also just took professionally. It's wonderful. Like there's beauty and safety and connection and being collaborative with your family as well in the community around you.
You have an amazing story. If people were to connect with you, where would be the best place for them to find you online?
Yeah, absolutely. There is a Calendly, and if you hit that / it should be Somatic and Mental Wellness Co. And there, if anybody wants to have an exploration call or informational call, it has hours that are open, and it's typically about 15 to 20 minute time block because I'm more open. I encourage curiosity.
Right.
That's what landed me here today. So yes, I love being able to give people a little bit of information so that they can make an informed decision.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's tough to make a decision without having the right information, right? A lot of people want to think about it, but without the information to think about it, doesn't really help. So I invite each of you, if you were inspired by Maria's story to reach out to her and have that conversation. And we'll put the link on the comments or in the description so y'all can reach out to her. But Maria, I thank you for taking the time out of your day to share your story and spend a little bit of time on this podcast and share what you got going on.
It's been an absolute pleasure, Dalton. I appreciate your time as well.
Awesome.